Hey, it's Steve here, back again with the Vintage Model Build channel. I hope everyone's well. And last time we constructed the Academy 172 Kettenkrad. Tiny little thing. I may paint it up when I'm having a particularly obsessive compulsive day, but until then it remains unpainted. Today we're going to start the assembly of this, the US Willys Jeep with 50 cal machine gun. And today I'm going to do pre-painting. So we'll have olive drab for the body. That's Tamiya FX 72 or 62, sorry. Tamiya XF49 khaki. These are all Tamiya paints. XF56 metallic gray and XF1 flat black. Might use a little bit of rust once we're all done on the underside, just to do a bit of weathering. But for now, these are the four paints we're going to need. So again, this is a very simple kit, very basic kit, but a good value. Like I said last time, about $24 you get 3 vehicles and accessories. And while the Kettenkrad was teeny tiny, well, they're all small, it's 172. The other 2 vehicles, there's a little bit more to them. Sorry if there's glare from time to time. Because I'm working today, I'm going to need the light. But I hope that it comes out pretty good and people don't have any trouble seeing it. Okay, so tools we're going to need. Nippers. Hobby knife. Tweezers of your choice. And various paintbrushes. Paintbrushes stay on my surgical tray, with other miscellaneous things like the scissors. Yeah, I know they're pink. My wife bought the set and I'm just using them, so they're okay. Actually, I think they're fuchsia, which is okay. Alright, not that pink isn't okay. Alright, and yes, we'll need the file probably as well. Although I am going to paint most of the parts right on the sprue. Okay, so we'll open up the pack here. This has both the parts for both the Willys Jeep and the Kuba wagon. And the sprue map tells me that the Jeep parts are all on sprue A. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to assemble, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps to assemble the Jeep. Alright, so here we go. As you saw, I'm just opening this up, but I'm not seeing any flash whatsoever. It's a well molded kit. The only thing I'm seeing is they're kind of uneven about showing you which parts need to be painted which color. For example, here on the sides and the body of the Jeep, they haven't indicated anything. They've indicated khaki for the seats, but they haven't indicated any color for the body. So olive drab, which is, I think, what they were. If they're not, well, close enough. All right, so here we go. All right, first step is the drivetrain and suspensions, and so we'll get started on that. A little tip, I'm not going to do it here, but I do with more complex kits, is each time I complete a step I give a little check mark, and then, you know, that tells me when I come back to it later where I'm at, and I don't have to be hunting around figuring out how far along I got with it. If I'm part way through a step, then I just draw a line through it. Smarter people probably won't have to do that, but I'm not that smart. Okay, anymore. Okay, so here we go. So we've got A31 and A32. Start with that, 31, 32. And what I'm going to do here is cut it off from the sprue, just leaving it attached by one side, and that way I can, paint up the piece without having to touch up too much. And again, you'll have choices here. In this case, when it's face up with the A, that's not flat. So we're going to turn it over. When you're cutting with the knife, you want it to be flat. That way it minimizes the risk of breaking or bending parts. Alright, so here we go. Okay, so no paint color is given for these. Or the leaf springs. So those are going to be metallic gray. Okay, one part got bent a little bit there. As I said, you have to be really careful. And we've also got this other little part, which I guess is the gearbox. And I'm going to leave that on there. Okay, so we'll trim these up a little bit and come back when I'm ready to paint. Alright, so shake up the paint. And yeah, especially the metallic paints, you really need to shake them up real good. And as far as brushes go, I got this set of, I think they're actually makeup brushes off of Amazon. And they've been great. I don't know, there were 10 or 15 brushes. And whatever the cost was, it was kind of pretty reasonable. And they're great. So now you can dip in the well or the little bottle, or when it's just a tiny little bit, I take it off the top here. And you want to make sure you don't get too much. Because you'll lose the details. And I'm only going to paint the side that doesn't get glued. There we go. Set that aside. And with your open paint, you want to make sure it's out of the way one way or another. And like with everything on this channel, I'm no expert. This is the way I do it. There may be other ways, better ways, or just other ways. But this is the way I do things. So as I said with the gearbox part, you want to avoid painting the surfaces that are going to be glued. And you don't want too much paint because that'll cover up the detail. Choosing the right brushes really comes down to a matter of experience. Um, Obviously, for larger surfaces, you want larger brushes, and for smaller, more detailed surfaces, you want smaller brushes. And again, less is more, and you can always add, but it's difficult to take away. And if you take the time to do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again. Okay, so yeah, that gets set aside now. And what am I going to do? Just lean it up against there. Okay, and I left some little bits of sprue on here so I could hold them. And I see a tiny little bit of flash there. I just take that off. Yeah. And for beginners and novices, I'm going to tell the truth. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to mess up. Some of the mistakes and messes you won't be able to fix. That's just part of the hobby. That's why it's important to be thoughtful and consider what you're doing before you do it. And that's also why I advise, if you're beginning or a junior modeler, that you start with simple, inexpensive models. That way, if it does turn out to be a disaster that's unfixable, you haven't wasted that much money. I said wasted, but it's not really a waste because you'll learn from it. One of the best teachers is failure. failing is part of life. You don't fail unless you're trying. And the only thing bad about failing is if you constantly keep failing for the same reason all the time. Unfortunately, people like that rarely look at themselves and realize why they're failing. Okay. Looks like this piece is in pretty good shape now. Okay. And I got this, well, it's like silly putty, but it's not silly putty. But anyways, it's a soft putty. I got it at the dollar store. Costs about $1.50 per egg. And it's great for lots of things. For, you know, standing up pieces like I'm going to do here, which you'll see in a moment. You might have seen me do this before, but anyways, you're going to see me do it again. Here we go. Stick her in there. Stand her up and let her dry. Excuse me. And the other thing too is, after a few minutes, you're going to want to cap it up again and shake your paint. There we go. And something else I'm going to say to beginners and novices is, you know, like most things in life, crawl, walk, run. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with assembling a model kit and not painting it. If you feel you don't have the skills to paint it, then that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, So these little puppies, they can go be set aside to dry. They don't take very long to dry, but I like to leave things overnight. This is acrylic paint, so it goes in the magic juice glass. And again, you want to close up your paint, and back it goes into wherever you put your paint. And the other thing too is, you'll find you have tons of this stuff, extra sprue. And that's a great way to practice your painting. For example, here, this little panel, it has some writing on it. So it says World War II ground vehicle set, 172nd. And so that would be something good to practice on, to make sure, to learn, how to put not too much paint on so that you can still see those letters. All right, so those are pretty much dried off. Don't need to worry about them sticking to the excuse me. Okay, and now we've got A13, which is this one here, I think. Yes, A13. A13. Tidy this up a bit. And again, with the sprue, you can practice your trimming skills. People my age and grandpas and older will know what whittling is. And whittling was just taking a piece of wood and working it with the knife. Doesn't need to have an objective, but it can be just, whittling it down to a point, trimming it up. You just learn the skills, those fine motor skills. Just like anything else, practice makes perfect, and it's about muscle memory too. So, okay, quick pause while I get some paper towel. Okay. And the instructions don't indicate a color for this, but like most bodies, it'll be the olive drab. So here we go, olive drab, XF62. Here's another tip, I don't know, for $10 or something. I got these little ball bearings. And you put them in the container, and just like with a spray paint can, makes your mixing a lot easier. That's one reason why I like these little paints in a jar, as opposed to in this. You can put these in there, but you know, you have to take the cap off, you have to pry this off, and then you have to put them in. So I'll get around to that. I've done it with all the Tamiya paints. Okay, so here we go. So again, larger surface. Larger brush. So this detail here is, that will be metal as well. So I'm not going to paint over that. I'll detail that after. And the illustration shows basically everything is olive drab, even the bumpers here. And after you paint a bit, you know, if you see a spot that you've missed, don't try and paint it right away. Let the paint that's already on there dry a little bit. And if you're anything like me at all, you're going to have to go back and touch up anyways. The best advice for this kind of thing is just don't rush. Take your time. It's not a race. Unless you want to make it one. Now, this isn't a very big piece, but if you did have a larger piece, rather than holding this with your fingers, you can wrap an elastic around here, tie it off, and then that way you don't have to strain your fingers by holding it for too long. Okay, nearly there. Oops, slipped there. And if you do get too much paint, like I did here, you can brush it off and use it on a different area. Okay. That's that. And if you do get an excessive amount of paint on, you can take it off with a cotton bud here or Q-tip. And if you need to, you can dip it in a little bit of water or paint thinner, depending on the paint that you're using. Okay. Now we've got the grill. And the other obvious thing too is you want to paint everything. When paint all the olive drab colors olive drab, and so on and so forth at the same time. That way you don't have to be jumping back and forth all over the place. That's another reason to read the instructions thoroughly, so that you know what parts are going to get painted what color. So this is the gas can and the magazine for the 50 caliber machine gun. Okay, there's that. And we've got the wheel hubs. Not going to worry about going over the lines on these. It's going to all get painted over with flat black anyways. A little too much here, so I'm going to go back and take some of it off. Oh, and the reason you wait a bit before going for touch-up is so you don't get brush marks. And I should probably have used a smaller brush for this, but I didn't. Okay. And so when I took up this part of the hobby again, I had pretty much zero confidence. Um, in partly because of, I haven't been done this for 45 years. And also because, as you get older, your hands get shakier, your eyes get dimmer. But, I've been, overall, I've been very, very pleased and surprised at how quickly my confidence has grown as I do things. So that's just a little word of encouragement for those who might be in the same position or in a position of worrying about their confidence. And again, in the end, it's your model. So even if it doesn't turn out perfect, well, hopefully you've enjoyed the experience and you've learned for next time. Now the seats are going to be khaki. That's what the instructions say. And again, I'm not going to worry about those little extra lines. Okay, there's the tub. Oh, see what I mean about brush marks? I don't know if you can see those. Anyways. And I expect the dashboard will be khaki. Or sorry, the dashboard will be olive green. Okay, so we're coming up to 1 hour. And I'm going to finish this up, finish up all these little bits and pieces. And we'll be back for part 2 of the video when it comes time to assemble it. So thanks for watching. Thanks to all my subscribers and my viewers. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to check out my videos. And I hope you find them helpful and informative. So thanks again, and have a great weekend.